Assessing overall business environment in Indian economy is the topic of the class today. The present day business is associated with vast and fascinating opportunities. It encompasses the use of latest scientific knowledge and technical know-how. Different challenges and difficulties encountered in converting raw materials into sellable products, problem confronted in raising the investing money for the success of business units. The most important tasks of bringing employees together and motivate them to achieve higher productivity. Sleepless nights are spent for better marketing of the products. The related legal restrictions and many government requirements and discharging obligations to consumers, employees, owners and other such group which have fat and stake in business. Now, let's have a limelight of business environment of Indian economy. India's business environment has improved considerably after the initiation of economic reforms in early 1990s. Domestic and foreign investors are finding it easier to do business after the reforms, which are aimed at reorientation of the centrally controlled economy to a market-oriented one in order to foster greater efficiency and growth. This is being done by introducing greater competition in the economy through progressive internal deregulation accompanied by foreign direct investment and trade liberalization. However, the turmoil which surfaced in the US financial system has also adversely hit the Indian economy. Compared to other emerging economies, India has several strengths that can help mitigate the adverse effects of the global economic crisis. In spite of the global meltdown, Indian economy offers ample opportunity for business, both to the domestic and foreign entrepreneurs. In 1947, after gaining independence, our country India initiated a path of industrialization to achieve economic prosperity. India focused on developing the manufacturing base. Much of the country's development was done through the 5-year plans. Industries like iron and steel, oil refineries, cement and fertilizers were brought under the gamut of public sector enterprises. The decision makers then encouraged the development of small-scale industries. They perceived that Indian small-scale industries would play a vital role in the economic progress of the country and had immense potential for employment generation. Developing small-scale sector would also result in decentralized industrial expansion, better distribution of wealth, and to encourage investment and entrepreneurial talent. The government has initiated several policies for the growth and development of small-scale industries. They included reservation of certain items to be manufactured only by the small-scale sector. Other measures include credit marketing, technology, and entrepreneurship development also. Apart from this, physical, financial, and infrastructural support are also undertaken. In 1999, the government established the Ministry of Small-Scale Industries and Agro and Rural Industries to make policy decisions for the development and well-being of the small-scale industry. The small-scale industry sector has, over the past 6 decades, acquired a prominent place in the socio-economic development in our country. The sector has exhibited positive growth trends even during the periods when other sectors of the economy experience either negative or nominal growth. In fact, though the small-scale industries sector has demonstrated its strength, the basic assent of the small-scale industries policy has been defensive, aiming to insulate the sector from the dynamics of competitive growth. Now, coming to business environment in post-liberalization. Post-liberalization economic conditions has created immense growth prospects for the small-scale industries. The government has also supported the small-scale industries by the way of implementing policies like investment ceiling for the small-scale industry sector and priority lending. The formation of World Trade Organization in 1995 resulted in a major challenge to the well-being of the small-scale industries. The protection given to the small-scale industries in the form of reservation and quantitative restriction has been withdrawn. More than 160 items reserved under the small-scale industries have been de-reserved. It has been found that if the small-scale industries upgrades the technology, adopt the better management practices, re-engineer the factories to improve productivity and provide qualitative product, they would be competitive in the post-World Trade Organization scenario. The advancement in computer and telecommunication technology, increase in e-commerce, opening up of markets due to World Trade Organization, mergers and acquisitions, improved infrastructure and outsourcing, non-core area of business have all contributed to the growth of the small-scale industries. The new economic policy initiated in early 1990s in India have 5 main components. First one is devaluation of the Indian rupee in order to increase exports. Second one, deregulation or dismantling of government controls over domestic industry. Third one, privatization including formation of jointly owned public-private enterprises and sale of public sector enterprises. The fourth one is liberalization or opening up of monopoly markets to increase foreign and domestic competition. And fifth one is globalization by opening the Indian economy to foreign investment. Essentially, the new economic policy had a massive and radical change in India's political economy towards the free market forces, in which the invisible hand of business competition would determine prices, the volume of sales, and other economic factors in the Indian economy. Under the new economic policy, infrastructural sectors such as power, telecommunications, roads, ports, harbors, and civil aviation were especially targeted for liberalization, demonopolization, direct foreign investment, and privatization. Competent and well-trained manpower is essential for economic development. This is being provided by the institutes of technology, institutes of management, business schools, institutes of information technology, and many other important institutions in India. The massive increase in the middle income class with high purchasing power is supporting rapid expansion of consumer economy and economy of the country as a whole. It has been stated that implementation of the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, now known as Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, has enhanced the purchasing power of the people at the bottom. The economy of India is the 10th largest in the world with a dollar of 691.9 billion at 2004 USD exchange rates and has a real GDP growth rate of 6.2% at public-private partnership mode. Indian economy has posted an excellent average GDP growth of 6.8% since 1994. Now, India has become the fastest growing free market democracy in the world, registering a growth rate of 8.3% in financial year 2010-11. However, a slight decline has been observed in the financial year 2011-12 at 6.5% only. It is worth noting that the global economic growth rate is 3.5%. So students, having knowledge on the above discussion, let's understand the factors conducive to India's economic growth. First one is demographic advantage. India has a predominantly young population. 44% of India's population was less than 19 years of age. In the next 20 years, India will have more than 400 million under the age of 35, and in a decade from now, only 10% of Indians will be above 60 years of age. The second point is aspiring youth. This youth generation that is growing up is aspiring, that produces and consumes at the same time, creating internal markets. The third one is culture of innovation and knowledge. Relative to most other countries, India has embraced technology better. India has a mindset and a gene pool where young people can do very well in technology. Now, the fourth point is growth momentum. The country has got an underlying growth momentum, and the country has the ability to reinvent its growth model. In this context, the entrepreneurship development will have an important role to play in sustaining ever-increasing economic growth of the country. Corporate sector comprising trade, commerce, industry, marketing and allied fields have the potential to energize and hasten the process of rural development by creating enterprises for which there is unlimited scope. Though the involvement of corporate sector with the rural system is somewhat visible in India, it should be done in a big way so that the synergistic effect helps in the development of both the corporate sector and the rural sector. However, care should be taken to see that commercial interests do not override livelihood concerns of the farmers and the rural people. The fifth point is proactive government initiatives. There is sustained process of liberalization since 1991. The average GDP growth is 6% in the last 6 years. There is increased openness to foreign trade and investment. Rapid growth in export-oriented information technology and business process outsourcing industries have been observed. There is strong balance of payments in our country. The sixth point is abundance of basic infrastructure. Our country has large, rapid growing domestic markets. There is huge low-cost labor force. The second official language being English is one of the counting factor. There is adequate human resources with engineers, IT graduates capable of performing economic activities. The country has stable political and economic policies. The seventh point is high potential sectors. There is presence of the highly potential sectors with software, business process outsourcing, engineering based manufacturing, steel, textiles or RMG, that is ready-made garments, pharmaceuticals and alternatives to China for companies looking to source merchandise globally. The three important sectors of Indian economy. Now, we should not miss to apprehend the three important sectors of Indian economy. In this juncture, there is need to know the three important sectors of Indian economy. These are agriculture, industry, and services. Now, with reference to Dun and Bradstreet Economy Outlook 2010-11, the following explanations have been made on the following heads. First one is agriculture. Agriculture and allied sectors like forestry, logging and fishing accounts for 25% of the GDP. It employs almost 60% of the total workforce. It is the largest economic sector and plays a significant role in the overall socio-economic development of India. Due to steady improvement in irrigation technology, modern agricultural practices, the yield per unit of all crops have increased tremendously. The second one is industry. Index of industrial production, which measures the overall industrial growth rate, was 10.1%. The largest sector here holds the textile industry. Automobile sector has also demonstrated the inherent strength of Indian labor and capital. The three main subsectors of industry, viz. Mining and quarrying, manufacturing and electricity, and gas and water supply, recorded growth of 5%, 8.8%, and 7.1% respectively. Now, let us see the third one, that is services. The service sector is the fastest growing sector. It has the largest share in the GDP, accounting for about 4%. Business services, communication services, financial services, community services, hotels and restaurants, and trade services are among the fastest growing sectors. Challenges before Indian economy. Since not a single country is devoid of challenges in their economic development, it is highly demanded to understand the following challenges before Indian economy. First one, since indirect taxes affect efficiency of resources, allocation and investment climate of a country, the pivotal challenge is fiscal consolidation with appropriate tax reforms. Second one, the concept of the Indian agriculture and farmer should be brought out of the syndrome of Indian agriculture is gambling with monsoon. The way out is efficient management of water. Involving communities in the process is the only panacea for issues related to water. The third point is policy interventions in terms of simplifying procedures and relaxing entry barriers for business activities. The ease with which firms are able to enter into and exit from business activities is an important determinant of the investment climate. The fourth one is low cost and huge resources flows are necessary for initial investment boom in infrastructure, industry and services. The fifth one is farmers and enterprises should have access to finance at competitive rates and for all maturities for their credit-worthy projects. The sixth one is infrastructural inadequacy constraints economic growth, particularly in the backward states and in the agriculture sector. The seventh one is there is a need for higher foreign direct investment. Such investment triggers technology spillovers, assists human capital formation, contributes to international trade integration and particularly exports, and it helps create a more competitive business environment, enhances enterprise development, and more generally improves the efficiency of resource use. The eighth one is control of population is also a major reform that has to take place. The ninth point is education is similarly important in uplifting the standards of Indian economy. The 10th point is the eradication of poverty and unemployment is the long-lasting goal of India's development policies and programs. To conclude with, I would like to comment like this. In the changed environment, the important sectors of Indian economy needs to integrate itself with overall domestic economy and global markets by gearing itself to greater interdependence by networking and subcontracting. To satisfactorily meet the present as well as future requirements of the sectors and the national economy, the policies and projects will have to be effective and growth oriented so as to achieve competitiveness, collective approach and capacity to upgrade. Thank you so much.